Okay, let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I, I'm sorry. So previously we discussed this life cycle part. Let me if you just recall what we discussed. Life cycle, life cycle. Right. We discussed the life cycle part. Life cycle is just tells the set of states that represents the business policy that can be defined in a document with inception to retirement. Right. For example, is author, review, approve, effective, retire. I mean, these all are the states of document. I mean, yeah, I mean, it could be a custom. I mean, it is not like that in the documentum there is only a one life cycle. As per your requirement or the business requirement, you could have a multiple life cycles. I mean, the admin department have a different life cycle of their documents, similar to the HR department have a different life cycle. I mean, for example, candidate hiring there is a different life cycle, or for business, I mean, invoices approval there could be a different life cycle. So uh, life cycle is just kind of automation, so that at the back end the document should move from one state to another state automatically. How it happens? We create hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. The states, uh, we begin, I mean, we define the begin state, intermediate state, and the end state, like S1, S2, S3. These all are the states. So if I talk about I mean, for n- I mean, pharmaceutical industry, I mean, if I say that if the document is in a draft state, then it's in approval review state, and it's in a approval state, then it's effective state, and also then after that it's in superseded state.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So it's a, I mean, it's a for, I mean, how the document will move. Right. So right. So every state had a certain entry criteria. Entry criteria means if I mean, that metadata value is that time we call it that are there in the particular states. And similar to that, we perform a action. I mean, when document is in, I mean, life cycle, what the life cycle do based on the entry criteria, and entry criteria, based on the entry criteria, we perform some actions for another state, so that document can move into the another state. So this
So
whole
total time,
process, correct, this whole process happens automatically, right? I mean, passively, I mean, no intervention, you cannot watch it. Basically
okay,
it happens internally in the system automatically. So when you want such kind of automation, we can go for this life cycle.
okay.
So I mean, as I told you, we have a this these are the normal state. Normal state, I mean, just one state beginning from state, base state to end state, right? I mean, it's a linear way. In deviation of normal state, sometimes we have a exception state as well. That exception state is called for I mean, when we want temporary suspension or permanent suspension of a document. I mean, right, for example, if document get rejected, at that time it is suspended from linear state. I mean, it is just suspended from active flow. I mean, in that time, until it is again validated, or I mean, the coordinator again made changes whatsoever comment are associated with that document, until he incorporated those comment, and again I mean, take it as in a draft. That time the document is in suspension state, right? I mean, we cannot, I mean, reject. We cannot take any document rejected one in the normal state. Means you cannot approval work can initiate approval workflow, review workflow in a rejected document until it is the all the rejection what are the rejection region are not handled, correct. So that exception state is called this exception state is a um, called a suspension state or temporary permanent. It could be a permanent or it could be a temporary, I mean, based on. So we could have one or more than one exception state. Means document can be, I mean, can be rejected after any of the state. For example, if a document is in review state, after that it can be rejected. If it is in approval state, it also can be rejected. I mean, based on our logic or based on the requirement, we can reject the document and also resume the document from that state, right? So the resumption is also important,
Okay.
right? For example, see here it is a suspension, but it is this suspended document is I mean, it is not linked with any other, so it cannot be resumed, right? From so I mean, in case or if it is not resumed, then it is a permanently suspension. Means a document is once rejected, it always be rejected.
Okay.
I mean, if we have a requirement like this, we can. Now, there are certain terminologies: state change, entry criteria, and action. See, each state, I mean, each state has an entry criteria,
Okay.
right? I mean, entry criteria where we define then when the object can come to this state.
Okay.
Because
Mm.
so based on the entry, see, this state has its own entry criteria. This state has its own entry criteria, and this state also has its own entry criteria. So document, I mean, for example, document is there, but it directly cannot reach come to this state, or it directly cannot come to this state because it will not fulfill the entry criteria of these states.
Okay.
So we design the entry criteria like this way. So by default the document I mean, fulfill the entry criteria for first state. After that, I mean, in actions we write some logic like this, that it should start fulfilling the entry criteria of other state.
Okay.
Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
So I mean, again, in S2 we write actions like that, that it should start fulfilling the entry criteria for S3 state, right?
Okay.
Let's say again, let me tell you, I mean, for example, let's say there is a title, there is attribute title. Here entry criteria is this, I mean, for this state, the title should be S1,
Okay.
and here the entry criteria is title should be S2. I mean, the value of title should be S2.
Okay.
Here the entry criteria is title value should be S3,
Okay.
or similar to that, title's value should be S4. So right now when you upload a document, let's say the you just put title value as one. So can that document come to this any state? Because it is not fulfilling the entry criteria, it's fulfilling the entry criteria only this state. Here the precondition or the entry criteria is, if the document title is equal to S1, then the document can come to this state.
Initializing.
Initially, right. So now, as an action, for example, the document entered in this state, right? Because it is fulfilling the entry criteria, because the document, the title of the document has the value S1, correct? Now, as an action, what we do here, we will update the value of title to S2,
Okay.
right? Once the value updated, then again, if the system checks for this, so what is the entry criteria? Here the entry criteria is defined that if title value is S2, then object can come to this. And here we have updated the value,
Okay.
right? Title to S2. So obviously it can come, right? It can enter because it is fulfilling the entry criteria for this state. So similar to that, as an action, we update the title value of an object to s3.
Okay.
Then it can fulfill the entry criteria, because here the entry criteria is written s is equal to 3. I mean, that particular title is equal to 3.
Okay.
Are you getting my point, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Correct. So we define the entry criteria like this. Similarly, in the rejection, what we define entry criteria: if document title status, let's say title, I mean this title is equal to reject. If value title is equal to reject, then it can come to this state. So whenever the value gets reject, I mean in the document is in s3, either it should go here or either it should go here. So
Okay.
it check for the title value. Let's say title value is reject, then it will move into the this exception state. If the title value is s4, then it will move to the next state. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Based on the entry criteria, whatsoever entry criteria, basically checkpoints or precondition or pre-checks,
Okay.
whether that object has a certain value or certain condition. I mean, what could be, we can write as an entry criteria: metadata value, whether that metadata value is that or not. Metadata in the sense, for example, title value is this or not,
Okay.
owner value is this or not, right? We can define ACL, whether that object has this ACL or not. I mean
Okay.
intricate, right? We do that. Whether that folder belongs to this folder or not, that document belongs to this folder or not, I mean, is in this folder or not, such kind of intricate. So we can define so many entry criteria.
Okay.
So if I mean, and I mean, right? So either we can write or and, I mean, either should match any of the entry criteria or it should match all the entry criteria,
Okay.
right? We have a such leverage as well. We can I mean, define like this way: if the object belong to all the entry criteria, that it can come into this state, or any of the entry criteria, then it can come to this state,
Okay.
right? So, and similar to the action, as an action, what we can update a certain metadata value. I mean, let's say we pick a title metadata, I mean that attribute title, and updating a value. We can update the ACL, we can update the owner, we can update the folder location, move document, I mean, uh, let's say earlier document, that particular document is in one cabinet.
Okay.
Now, right, I mean, under a one HR cabinet, we
Yeah.
can move the cabinet, move the cabinet in the sense, move object from that cabinet to another cabinet. It will, so once that action will be performed, the object will be moved from cabinet 1 to cabinet 2. Like this we can write actions.
Okay.
Are you getting my point?
Okay.
So I hope you understood this entry criteria and action and change state. Change state means document, I mean, once fulfill the entry criteria, action performed, we write a action in a such a way that it should fulfill the entry criteria for next state, right? So these all are the this is as a state change.
Okay.
I hope you are getting my point.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Right, as an action, I told you what we can do. We can update the property value. Property means metadata value. Ownership, for example, Krishna has uploaded a document, we can change from Krishna to another user. What is the attribute that define the ownership? Owner underscore name.
yeah.
There is a one and attribute owner underscore name. Please, I mean, refer that documentation what I've shared you, because if you give that answer whatsoever in the documentation, I mean, they definitely will hire you. I mean, they are bound to hire you in that case. I mean,
Okay.
just they want to understand this object model.
Okay.
I mean, whether you doesn't know anything.
Okay.
I mean, in the documentum, if you tell them that this is a object model, then they you 99% got selected.
Okay. We,
1% that you know DA, you know what, you know X, you know document, you know DQL. That's a secondary thing.
okay.
If you know the object, because see, what is that? I mean, even this is the most important, because you know the architecture. If you know the object model, you know the how the documentum work.
Okay.
Because the problem with the most of the guys, they are from different technology, they do not understand this architecture. They think that everything is in the database, but it is not like that. Th- Things are in the database, but in a different way.
That object guide you shared, that only, right?
Yes, yes, that's I'm talking about.
Mhm.
So, I mean, this and the proper, I mean, what all of the attribute is used for what purpose? I mean, it's so clearly mentioned. I mean, or it is not like that. You have to see for all. Just 10, 15, what we have discussed so far in, our classes, that's enough for you. I mean, everybody will ask you in the questions from those attribute, those types.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, no one is asking, trying to ask you. I mean,
Rough.
what, yeah, just I mean, 15, 16 is there. Even let me again give you a name, right? DM underscore sys object, DM underscore document. I mean, the purpose you should know, purpose and the attribute name, attribute. What is the even the common attributes? DM underscore package, DMI underscore package, DM underscore user, DM underscore group. Please note it down as well.
Yeah, yeah.
DM underscore DMI package, DMI user group, DM underscore workflow, DM underscore process. I mean, even some of them it's the most common. I mean, even it is not like everybody. I mean, every time they all ask you the process, but you should know these all. I mean, 10, 15.
Okay.
DM underscore activity, DMI work item, DMI queue item, DM process, DM policy, DM underscore policy,
DM underscore audit underscore policy.
DM underscore no, that's a different DM underscore audit trail,
DM underscore
DM.
audit.
I mean, though there's a DMR content and DM sub workflow process DMIQ item. I mean, mostly. I mean, they will ask you in this. I mean, one or two are left. I mean, DM underscore group. Okay, it happened. It is already written. So sys object document package user group workflow process activity work item queue item policy audit trail content. Though a lot more are there, but these are the few ones that are commonly used in the Documentum.
Okay, okay.
I mean, mostly used in Documentum. I mean, rest of I mean, if if you tell them these all, right? So
Mm,
then rest can be, okay. I mean, it is always not necessary to remember each and everything, but they will understand because if you know this. So if you know the object model means hierarchy that I have shared with you in a type, you know, persistent object, then DMCS object, hierarchy I showed you.
yeah.
That is called a object model. How objects are created into the system. Because every object, I mean, the child object inherit all the properties of its super type
Yes.
child, So that's why, therefore, it is called a model, you know. Otherwise, I mean, every table is associated with another table. Therefore, we call it a model. Otherwise, there is no significance. I mean, so you should know that. I mean, how the one type is associated with another type, right? How, for example, if you have a sys object only,
Okay.
then how to check the workflow? If you know the model, you can know. If you have a process, I mean, it's sys object. So, which workflow is applied on it? If you have a sys object, who has uploaded this object, right? If this is object, to whom that it is pending for review, like this, whether the workflow, which life cycle is applied, at which state it is, right? When it got created, in audit trail, what it when it got created, and I mean what has been updated at the particular date,
Okay.
like this. Content, what is the content associated with this as object? I told you object, I mean, is a combination of data, metadata, and file, right? What
Okay.
is the content file is associated with that particular PDF file, or like this. What is the size of it? Sometime you need to check, I mean, if your performance is slow, you need to check how many big size file is there. If user try to access that particular file, and if its size is 2 MB, will take a longer time, right? So you need to take care whether we can give them a query, or what how technically we can um, process that file, so that user can, I mean, user should not have a impact on the time wise, or I mean the performance wise. Because if user tries to download a 2 MB file, it will take a more time than a 1 KB file, right? But user will not understand this, I mean the business user, and they want it, um, it's so fast. So you have to write a logic, you have to build a logic, you have to think like that, how we can do this. So if you know that which type is storing, then you're able to, apply a logic, or start thinking like on it. So these are the couple of, just let me share you with the chat as well. So, okay, state change. I told you promotion and demotion. There is a two another things. Promotion means document is moving from S1 to S2, S2 to S3, S3 to S4, like this. This is called promotion. Document is getting promoted, and document is getting demoted means it is rejected. I mean, it is rejected and coming back to a previous state. So let's say document is in S3, and one exception state is associated with the document. So now it once it get rejected, it back to the S1 or S2, right? That is called demotion. Are you getting my point? Right.
So once the document rejected again,
Because,
okay,
yeah, I mean, see, for example, approver, let's say there is a approver has rejected a document. So at that time the document state was in approval,
okay,
right? So whether the document still is in approval,
mm.
is status changed of the document, right?
Correct.
uh,
It is changed, but in this life cycle only again we will promote or how we will do the
yeah, I mean I mean, see, for example, let's say, I mean, here's the exception state this,
resumption also.
right? I mean, here, then document now will come to this, I mean, it will be resumed to the S2 state.
How, sir?
I mean, once, I mean, how means, as you update the document, see, in the workflow, the document will come to you. You edit document. Once you edit the document, their properties get changed,
Okay.
and it will start fulfilling the entry criteria for this state. See,
Mm.
right now title is equal to rejected,
Okay.
right? Once you verify and you update this title, I mean, from the rejected to S2, it
Okay.
will start fulfilling this, right?
Yeah. But what I have seen is they are designed in the life cycle in such a way that means our workflow in such a way
Mhm.
that once
So,
anyone rejected means it is
mhm,
not going to drop immediately. The coordinator or author has to sorry coordinator has to abort this workflow.
uh-huh.
It is going to drop stage
Eh,
manually. So
I
once
mean, yeah. So, I mean, again,
you need to complete analysis.
I got your point. See, this life cycle, uh, I mean, the workflow
Yeah,
and
different.
life cycle, both are the in combination
Okay,
in your case. See, this executes at a back end, not a front end. But workflow is a kind of a front end.
okay.
Front end in the sense, I mean, once the document get rejected,
Okay.
right? So documents gets rejected. Now life cycle, I mean, see, the document get rejected, it update the metadata value. Once the metadata value get updated, it check for the entry criteria.
Okay.
It check for the entry criteria. So metadata value got rejected, the document is in this state, means at that particular moment.
Okay.
Again, workflow, I mean, workflow is a separate thing with this. Again, on the document, move to the coordinator. Coordinator updated that document, right? Updated means that document, so automatically in by the workflow that their metadata gets changed, get updated,
Okay.
right? And it get updated, and so means we are updating entry, I mean, it will start fulfilling the entry criteria for S2. Once the document will come, automatically the particular logic get applied. Also, you can write a logic in the, I mean, in the workflow as well, or you can write a logic here as well. It's up to you where you want to write. I mean, or you partial half logic there, half logic here, full logic there and half logic here, right? So every time life cycle, it is not like the mandatory thing.
Okay.
Life cycle is an optional thing. You can take it up for better or faster purpose, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Better. Okay. And also sometimes, again, it will, there will be some standard and custom. So the designing also will be done through this doc builder only.
Right. Process, right. See, even, I mean, let me show you. I mean, even we can apply a life cycle with the workflow as well. I mean, in the workflow also we can attach a life cycle this state.
Okay. Okay.
So in the workflow, we do not write a more logic. I mean, in the workflow, if you write a logic, you need to write a Java code. But here, there are actions defined. Rather writing this code here, you can define an action on this in this
Okay.
life cycle, and that will be applied. So you can save yourself just to write a code. And if you write your code, it slow down the performance. But if you use the life cycle, it does not slow down the performance.
Yeah. But I just want to see how to attach this.
Yeah, that I mean, implementation part will come. So, but I just want to make it clear for you first, this
Uh,
theoretical, how the things. Well, later on, when we implement this practically, you'll have idea, because I it requires a little kind of a development. So I'll show you the step by step.
okay.
Uh, right. So, I mean, I told you that entry criteria and approval, two things are there with the life cycle.
Mm.
Entry criteria and actions. Entry criteria where we define this, what could be the value, metadata values, and actions as I explained you. Similarly, in the effective actions and entry criteria, what we have.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, what we can do with the actions, we can update access permission, means ACL, we can update the properties, we can update the ownership, we can update the folder locations, we can update the property constraints, like this.
Okay.
Right. I'll show you that. And right, when the document, I mean, how to attach a document in the lifecycle. Document can be attached either through API, Documentum API, or through Java code, right? Can be attached with the Documentum.
Okay.
How to apply a lifecycle? Lifecycle, again, I told you how lifecycle can be applied through Documentum API, or user, I mean, who is trying to, for example, you attach a document, automatically lifecycle will be applied to that. I mean, I mean, but when, if you have a relate permission, automatic, when I say the automatically, it pick your session,
Okay.
whether you have a right. Because see, I mean, we write, the API like this, like, attach comma C. See, this C refers for what?
Current version.
Current session means whose current session? Krishna's current session, because right now Krishna is logged in with the system.
Okay.
Are you getting my point?
Okay.
So if you have that permission, that's for that. In that case, that API start working, or internally we have write this code, but
Okay.
this code will be executed when the Krishna has a sufficient permission, because we are taking here Krishna's session.
Okay.
If Krishna is not having a sufficient privilege, that will start failing,
Okay.
right? So or I mean, either the Krishna should have a relate permission, or Krishna should have, I mean, either or the that relate permission, or if you have this extended permission, then you apply a business logic. Means we go to the object, right click, see the property, and the property there is a permission. Let me show you, I mean, what we need to do. So for example, see, let's say there is a one, I mean, this is a document. How we check that, so what we'll do, for example, this invoice 12 is there. This is the document.
Okay.
So I mean, we know that when the Krishna will log in,
Okay.
I mean, he upload this document, or he has to perform such any operation on this document. He checked out, check in, do so, I mean.
Okay.
So I mean, what Krishna can, I mean, we'll go to the properties,
Okay.
check the permission. Either, I mean, here we will add Krishna, I mean, either group of the Krishna, I mean, where the Krishna belong,
Okay.
right? We'll take it,
Group is mapped or user which one. So
right? Either the
that list can exist.
correct. So we here we will give, either we can give a Krishna as a relate permission,
Yes.
right? At least the Krishna should have a relate permission, or more than that, or he should have a, I mean, either this one or this change state. Then life cycle can work for Krishna. Otherwise, it will start giving the error on the back end. So once you see the error, right, so you should able to understand that, because Krishna is not having a sufficient permission, a basic permission or extended permission. Either you can give a basic permission to the Krishna, or you can just give a extended permission to the Krishna. The thing is that if you give, I mean, what is the difference? Why there is a two things designed for one purpose? Can you imagine, and can you guess why it is designed so far?
Uh,
uh, I
means,
mean,
basic means he can only just do some particular operation. Extended means apart from the basic, he can do any particular role based or
yeah, it's a kind of vice versa. See, for example, I don't want to give a relate permission to Krishna, but I want that Krishna should able to change the state of life cycle. I mean, right. So if I give you the relate permission, then you by default you have a browse and read permission,
correct, correct.
right? But I don't want to in that case. I mean, I don't want, you should able to read the document. So
Okay,
therefore, I will not give you the here the permission, just but I will give you the change state extended permission to you.
okay. Means they have designed for the specific function. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, so
Mm.
extended permission tells for the specifically, I mean, a specific for a specific objective.
Okay, okay.
I mean, right.
The basic
We
permission will give that.
uh, right. For I mean, for example, if you give the basic permission to the users, so user can do some misuse of it.
Okay,
So rather giving a basic permission, what you can do, you can give a extended permission. So So user cannot take a, I mean, he only can do that a particular thing, right?
Okay, this I got it. So, basic thing is basic permission, but this extended is related to specific activity.
Correct, specific activity.
Okay.
Right. So uh, how to security in life cycle, because as I told you, I mean, we update, I mean, see one more thing that, I mean, I told you in the life cycle, what we can do, we can update the ownership of it users and the permissions of the ACLs as well.
Okay.
Right. So let's say, I mean, in the life cycle, the design is like that. The you, I mean, the ACL has to be updated for the user. But I mean, right now Krishna has only, I mean, Krishna has only extended permission this change state. But
Okay.
in the change state, the one action is written that ACL of that object should be updated. So can the Krishna can do it? I mean, because it will take a session of Krishna.
Mm.
No, right? So in that case, what we have to give? We have to give this change permission as well. User with change permission can modify the basic permission of an item. I mean, whatsoever permission or whatsoever ACL is there, right? That can be updated. Similar to that, change ownership also we have to give.
Okay.
I mean, here we cannot make him a delete, right? Otherwise, he can delete the document as well, right? If I need these all things, I have to make user as a delete permission, right? If I make it delete, the Krishna can misuse it, even can delete the object, but
Correct.
I have to stop here, right? I will give only browse here to the Krishna, but what will do, I will give extended permission here and here,
Okay.
so that Krishna can, right? There is a one more thing, that's an interview question. Here it's also a delete,
Here also extended deleted.
and here is also a extended delete. What
Difference.
does it mean by?
Mm, there he can do everything, but here he can do only delete the object.
Yeah, correct. I mean, there is a safe delete and a permanently delete.
Okay.
So if this delete is there, user can delete a object. I mean, just only the metadata.
Okay.
But if it extended delete, the content also get deleted.
Okay.
I mean, generally they ask you in the questions, I mean, interview. So you got my point, right? What I'm trying to say here with this extended permissions, the role of extended permission. They, I mean, generally they will ask you.
Okay.
I mean, these are the questions where they will try to make you confuse. I mean, the people. I mean, even the persons are not clear with you. What is the use of extended permission? So you understood, right? I mean, what is the use of in the life cycle? There is a use of it, right? I mean, for example, if I want that user should able to change the ACL, but I don't want that he should do delete the document. If I want to achieve the same thing with the with basic permission, then I have to I mean, we have to provide a user as a delete permission. So he, I mean, he have additional things, but our purpose was just to provide him only the change ACL thing. I mean, he could change the ACLs of the users, but he still, if I mean, if we have provided a delete, means we are providing so many additional things. So rather providing additional thing, we just we want to give a specific thing, so that can be achieved through
Extended permission.
extended permission. Correct. So these all are the editor, um, uh, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, once we create life cycle, once we create a life cycle, then we, I mean, life cycle we create in the composer. In the composer, once we create a life cycle, we create a, I mean, life cycle, sometimes we call it business policy. Both
Okay.
are the same thing. Life cycle is equal to a business policy. Means we create a policy object, dm underscore policy, right? Therefore we call it a business policy.
Okay.
Are you getting my point? I mean, maybe sometimes interviewer ask you the whether you create a business policy. Business policy means they are talking about the life cycle. Document life cycle means they are talking about DM underscore policy object. Correct?
Document Developer Studio means the same component.
It's a composer. I mean, sometimes we call it a developer studio. I mean, these all are the names. Once this product was with the EMC, they call it this product name. Once it owned by the open text, they rename it the things, provide a different name of the software like this. I mean, there are, I mean, the Documentum software, this tool, earlier started with the company name Documentum. Then it went to the EMC. That company name is the EMC. Then it moved to the Dell. I mean, they purchased this whole company,
Right,
took
right.
over the company. After the Dell, the OpenText. Nowadays, at present, is why the OpenText. So these companies they start giving, I mean, changing the name of software. So some right. So earlier it was a app app builder. Then the name of composer changed to the developer studio. Then it changed the name of composer, like this.
So you told one more this builder. That,
Application builder. I mean, very first it was called application builder. Mm, right. So once installed, um, we create that in composer, and we validate for error whether there is an error or not, because when we create that policy, right, I mean design that policy, design at the design time it could have an error. So during the validation, automatically the system validated. During the validation, it look for error, and so it will not installed until it is successfully validated.
okay,
Once it's successfully validated, means there is no error in the design, then it get installed. Once it get installed, it create a object of DM underscore policy.
okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is all about the life cycle part. How to design it. We can design it through composer. There is a tool called composer. Right. So this is the composer. Here you have to give a new and then project. And here click on the artifact. In the artifact, see
What is meant by artifact?
art. I mean, these all are artifacts. I mean, artifacts. You can say these are types. Types in the sense, folder, uh, or you can group, folder, jars, jobs, lifecycle, methods, modules, ACLs. These all are the artifacts. Components, you can say these are the components. Artifacts is equal to components, right? So here there is an option life cycle. We create it through life cycle, right? Click new, create like this, and click open. With this, just it's so you can click like this, select, right, and through connection you can add. So this is a normal way. Just, I mean, you have created a life cycle.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not a rocket science. You can, I mean, if you double click on it, it shows the property. Here you can design. I mean, in next session I will show you. I mean, but I mean tomorrow session,
Yeah.
because I have to write some code and all. I mean, so in one go I will say here you can define an entry criteria, right, and here you can define actions,
Okay.
right. These all are action. Just add like this. It get created action for this state, similarity for this state. Here we define. So these all are about the life cycle. Just go through it. If you have any question, and try to search. I mean, focus on the types that I have given it to you, because we are approx, towards the end of the course, kind of. I mean, not exactly. Those couple of things are there, but still. So I want you to, um, you should go through these all, type and all these things you should have, I mean, so that you can give a better interview and all like this, right? I mean, we will have a, one question answer round, QA round, that I will ask you the questions. I mean, type of an interview where I will ask you some questions. I mean, so that you should judge yourself whether you are able to answer those questions or not.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thanks for your time. Bye. I'll see you tomorrow on the same time. Bye.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Bye.